Mark Thompson, at 50 years old, had poured decades of passion into perfecting his craft at Savory Haven, a culinary gem nestled in the heart of Austin, Texas. Known for its welcoming atmosphere and exquisite dishes, the restaurant had become a beloved institution drawing food lovers from across the city. Mark's dedication to quality was matched by his head chef, Ethan, a 38-year-old culinary genius with a sharp mind and a keen sense of flavor. Together, Mark and Ethan had built a reputation that set Savory Haven apart from its competitors. However, their success faced a new challenge when a fast food joint named Quick Burger opened nearby, enticing away many loyal customers with cheap, quick meals. Initially dismissing it as a passing trend, Mark soon realized the serious impact on his business as months passed and the decline continued. One evening, after another disappointing night, Mark stayed late at the restaurant, poring over financial records and customer feedback. The numbers painted a grim picture, and loyal patrons were voicing concerns about declining food quality and service. Determined to uncover the cause, Mark began scrutinizing the kitchen's operations more closely. He noticed subtle changes, ingredients being swapped, longer preparation times, and a lack of coordination among the staff. His suspicions deepened until one fateful night when he overheard Ethan in a heated conversation with another staff member. "Just stick to the plan," Ethan said sharply. "Once we're out of here, this place will sink, and I'll be at the new spot with a fresh start." Mark's heart sank as he realized Ethan had been sabotaging Savory Haven to secure a position at a rival eatery. Feeling a mix of betrayal and anger, Mark knew he had to act swiftly. The next day, he confronted Ethan and, despite years of trust and partnership, made the difficult decision to fire him on the spot. Mark's voice trembled with emotion as he confronted Ethan, his trusted chef. "I trusted you, Ethan. How could you do this?" Ethan remained stoic, offering no apologies, just a shrug before he walked out, leaving Mark to confront the aftermath. Despite Ethan's dismissal, the damage was irreparable. Savory Haven's once impeccable reputation lay in ruins, and Mark found himself sinking deeper into debt. Desperate to salvage his dream, Mark reluctantly made the gut-wrenching decision to sell the property. With a heavy heart, he prepared to close Savory Haven for good. As he made his final rounds through the now empty dining room, a profound sense of loss washed over him. This restaurant had been his passion, his life's work, and now it was slipping away. With tears in his eyes, Mark stepped outside to the back alley, where he noticed movement in the shadows. Approaching cautiously, he discovered Sarah and her young daughter, Emily, huddled there in obvious distress. Sarah explained they had been using the alley as a makeshift shelter and relied on the restaurant for food. Now, with Savory Haven closed, they had nowhere else to go. Mark's heart sank as he realized they were homeless. Their plight mirrored his own struggles in a poignant way. Moved by their situation, Mark made a spontaneous decision. "Stay," he told them gently. "You can help me clean up this place in exchange for food and shelter." Sarah hesitated, clutching Emily tightly, overwhelmed by Mark's unexpected generosity. "We don't want to impose," she murmured. "You're not imposing," Mark insisted, his voice soft but resolute. "You and your daughter deserve a safe place to stay, and I could use the help getting this place in order before I'm selling it." Mark's voice trailed off, the weight of his decision still heavy on his mind. Sarah studied him carefully, searching his face for any hint of an ulterior motive, but all she saw was genuine compassion. Slowly she nodded, a tentative smile spreading across her face. "Thank you," she whispered, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "This means more to us than you know." And so Sarah and Emily made themselves at home in the quiet, empty restaurant, throwing themselves into the task of cleaning and organizing the space. Mark was amazed at their efficiency and care. Over the next few days, he found himself drawn deeper into their world, discovering a glimmer of hope amidst the ruins of his dream. Mark watched in awe as Sarah and Emily breathed new life into Savory Haven. With Sarah's attention to detail and Emily's infectious energy, the once neglected dining room began to regain its former glory. They cleaned every nook and cranny, organized the kitchen, and polished the silverware. Witnessing their dedication, Mark couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of hope. One evening, after a long day of cleaning, Mark sat down with Sarah to share a simple meal she had prepared. The aroma of the food filled the air, reminiscent of better days. "This is delicious," Mark said warmly, taking a bite. "You're a talented cook, Sarah." Sarah blushed, her smile widening. "Thank you." I used to cook a lot before everything happened. Sarah's voice trailed off, a hint of sadness in her eyes. Mark was curious about her story but didn't want to pry. Instead, he shared a bit of his own. You know, this place was my dream. I spent years building it up, making it what it was. And then Ethan, he betrayed me, Mark confessed. Sarah looked at him with sympathy. I'm sorry, betrayal is a hard thing to overcome, she murmured. My husband John left us one day. He just walked out, leaving me and Emily with nothing. We lost our home, everything. I've been trying to find steady work ever since, but it's been tough. Mark felt a deep sense of empathy for Sarah. They both knew what it was like to have everything ripped away. I understand, he said quietly, but you're strong, and you're doing a great job here. I couldn't have asked for better help. As the days turned into weeks, Mark, Sarah, and Emily formed a close bond. They worked together tirelessly, transforming Savory Haven inch by inch. Mark was continually impressed by Sarah's culinary skills. She had an innate talent for combining flavors and creating mouth-watering dishes. One day, as Mark watched Sarah prepare a meal, he had an idea. Sarah, how would you feel about becoming the head chef here when we reopen? He asked earnestly. Sarah was taken aback. Me, a head chef, Mark? I don't know what to say. I've never worked in a professional kitchen before. But you're talented, and you care about this place. I think we can bring Savory Haven back to life together, Mark said with conviction. Please think about it. Sarah hesitated, but the hope in her eyes was unmistakable. I'll think about it, Mark. Thank you for believing in me. With renewed purpose, they continued their work. Mark reached out to potential investors, knowing he needed financial backing to fully restore the restaurant and attract customers again. Finally, the day arrived when the prospective investors were scheduled to visit. Mark was a bundle of nerves but also excited. This was their chance to save Savory Haven. As the investors arrived, Mark and Sarah welcomed them warmly. They showcased the newly renovated dining area, highlighting the changes they had made. The investors seemed impressed, but the true test would be Sarah's cooking. Mark watched anxiously as the investors sampled Sarah's dishes. He could see their expressions shift from skepticism to delight. Michael Carter, a well-respected businessman, was particularly enthusiastic. This food is incredible, he exclaimed. The flavors, the presentation, everything is top-notch. Just as Mark began to feel optimistic, the door opened, and in walked John, Sarah's ex-husband. He immediately recognized Sarah and Emily, his face contorting with a mixture of shock and rage. What the hell is going on here? John bellowed. Sarah, get over here with Emily right now. Sarah froze, her body going rigid with fear. Emily clung tightly to her mother, eyes wide with terror. Mark quickly stepped in, positioning himself between John and Sarah. I'm going to have to ask you to leave, Mark said firmly. This is my restaurant, and I won't tolerate any kind of abuse or harassment. John sneered. Oh, I'm not going anywhere. In fact, I'm about to make you an offer you can't refuse. This place is a gold mine, and I want in. Mark felt his blood boil. I think you're forgetting something, he said through gritted teeth. This is my restaurant, and I don't take kindly to people who threaten my staff. John laughed harshly. Your staff? That woman over there is my wife, and that little girl is my daughter. I have every right to be here. Before Mark could respond, Michael Carter stepped forward. Well, Mr. Thompson, he said calmly, it seems you have quite a situation on your hands, but I believe in what you're doing here. I'd be honored to invest in Savory Haven on one condition. Mark felt a glimmer of hope, and what would that be? Michael smiled warmly at Sarah and Emily. I want Sarah and Emily to remain a part of the team. Their contribution to this restaurant is undeniable, and I won't have it any other way. Mark nodded firmly. Done. Thank you, Mr. Carter. This means the world to us. John's face twisted with anger, but he knew he was defeated. Cursing under his breath, he stormed out of the restaurant, his dreams of exploiting its success crumbling around him. As the investors finalized their agreement with Mark, he felt a surge of relief and gratitude. Savory Haven had a future once more, thanks to the unexpected alliance with Sarah and Emily. With the investment secured, Mark, Sarah, and Emily plunged into the task of fully restoring the restaurant. The transformation was stunning. The dining area was renovated with warm, inviting colors and elegant furnishings that created a cozy yet sophisticated atmosphere. However, the true showpiece was the kitchen. a state-of-the-art facility designed to accommodate Sarah's culinary magic. As they worked together, Mark and Sarah grew closer. Their shared experiences and mutual respect blossomed into a deep friendship. Emily, with her boundless energy and infectious laughter, brought a sense of joy and family to the restaurant. It was a time of hard work but also of healing and renewal for all of them. Mark was continually amazed by Sarah's culinary skills. Her creativity and passion for food were evident in every dish she prepared. One afternoon, as they were finalizing the new menu, Mark turned to Sarah. "You know, Sarah, I've tasted food from some of the best chefs in the world, but nothing compares to your cooking. I'm truly lucky to have you here," Mark said sincerely. Sarah blushed and smiled gratefully. "Thank you, Mark. That means a lot to me. I never imagined I'd have this opportunity again." Mark nodded, a serious look crossing his face. "And I never imagined finding someone who could save this place. We're a team now, and together, I know we can make Savory Haven better than ever." Finally, reopening day arrived, and the restaurant was packed with eager diners. Word had spread about the new and improved Savory Haven, and anticipation filled the air. Mark and Sarah were both nervous and excited, hoping their hard work would pay off. As the evening progressed, it became clear that their efforts had not been in vain. The diners were delighted with the food, praising the flavors and presentation. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement, and for the first time in a long while, Mark felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. Amid the bustling activity, Mark couldn't help stealing glances at Sarah. She moved through the kitchen with grace and confidence, directing her team of chefs with precision. The energy in the kitchen was palpable, and the aromas wafting into the dining room made even the most discerning foodie's mouths water. Towards the end of the night, after the last dish had been served and the last patron had left, Mark found Sarah sitting at a table in the now empty dining room. Her eyes shone with a mixture of exhaustion and pride. "Sarah," Mark said softly, sitting down across from her, "I don't know how to thank you for what you've done. This place is alive again, and it's all because of you." Sarah looked up at him, her eyes glistening with emotion. "I couldn't have done it without you, Mark. You gave me a chance when no one else would. You believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself," Sarah said earnestly. Mark reached across the table, gently taking her hands in his. "That's because you're extraordinary, Sarah. From the moment I met you at Emily in that alley, I knew there was something special about you. And now, seeing you in action, leading this kitchen with such passion and skill." He paused, taking a deep breath. "I don't want to lose you, Sarah. Not again." Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she realized the implication of his words. "Mark, what are you saying?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. In response, Mark dropped to one knee, never breaking eye contact with her. "Sarah, will you marry me?" For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Sarah stared at him, her eyes wide with disbelief, her heart pounding in her chest. She had never dared to dream that her life could take such an unexpected turn, that the man who had saved her and her daughter from despair would now be offering her his heart. Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes as she nodded, a radiant smile spreading across her face. "Yes," she breathed, her voice thick with emotion. "Yes, Mark. I will marry you," Sarah said, her voice filled with joy and relief. Mark let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding and rose to his feet in one fluid motion. He swept Sarah into his arms and twirled her around the empty dining room, their laughter echoing through the space like a joyful symphony that seemed to breathe new life into the very walls of Savory Haven. As they held each other close, Mark knew this moment marked more than just the reopening of his restaurant. It was the start of a new chapter filled with love, hope, and the promise of a future brighter than either of them could have imagined. 3 months later, Savory Haven was thriving. The restaurant's new look, combined with Sarah's exceptional culinary skills, had restored its former glory and more. Word of mouth spread quickly, and soon they had a waiting list of patrons eager to experience the magic of Savory Haven. Mark and Sarah settled into a comfortable routine, balancing the demands of the restaurant with their growing relationship. Emily, now a familiar and beloved presence at Savory Haven, brought joy and laughter to everyone who worked there. The once struggling restaurant had transformed into a bustling, lively place filled with the sounds of happy diners and the delicious aromas of Sarah's cooking. One evening, as the restaurant buzzed with activity, Michael Carter walked in with a group of prominent local business people. Mark greeted him warmly and showed them to a specially reserved table. The excitement in the air was palpable. This visit could lead to even more opportunities for Savory Haven. As Sarah prepared the evening's special menu, Mark couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. He watched her move with confidence and grace, orchestrating her team like a minstrel conducting a symphony. Every dish that left the kitchen was a testament to her skill and dedication. After dinner, Michael approached Mark with a broad smile on his face. "Mark, this place is phenomenal. Sarah's cooking is out of this world. We're all incredibly impressed." Mark beamed. "Thank you, Michael. We've put a lot of hard work into making Savory Haven what it is today." Michael nodded thoughtfully. "I have a proposition for you. We're looking to invest in a few top-tier restaurants to create a new dining experience across the city. We'd like Savory Haven to be the flagship." Mark's eyes widened in surprise. "That's an incredible offer, Michael. I'd need to discuss it with Sarah, of course, but it sounds like a fantastic opportunity." Michael smiled. "Take your time. I'm confident you'll make the right decision." Later that night, after the last patron had left, Mark and Sarah sat down to discuss Michael's offer. Emily had already fallen asleep in a cozy corner of the restaurant, her innocent face a reminder of how far they had come. "Sarah, what do you think about expanding Savory Haven?" Mark asked, excitement and trepidation mingling in his voice. Sarah took a deep breath, considering the possibilities. "It's a big step, Mark, but I believe in us and I believe in what we've built here. If we can bring the same passion and quality to other locations, it could be amazing." Mark reached for her hand, his eyes filled with love and determination. "I couldn't do this without you, Sarah. You're the heart and soul of Savory Haven. Together, I know we can make this a success." Sarah smiled, her eyes shining with hope and determination. "Then let's do it, Mark. Let's take this chance and see where it leads." With their decision made, Mark and Sarah knew they were stepping into a new chapter of their lives. They had faced betrayal and hardship, but together they have found redemption and the promise of new beginnings. Their journey was a testament to the power of resilience, passion, and the transformative power of love. As they looked around the now empty restaurant, they felt a deep sense of pride and accomplishment. Savory Haven had been more than just a place to eat. It had become a symbol of their shared dream and hard-won success. Hand in hand, Mark and Sarah knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together with Emily by their side, ready to embrace the new adventures that awaited them.